What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service. B. Dave Walters and Erin M. Evans talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're this live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms, featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions, Farida, Havilar, and Mehen. I'm also a content designer for Idle Champions, and I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
Hello, B. Dave Walters. I say words about things. I'm just here to bask in Erin's radiance. You know, she came in and like Dreamweaver started playing, and like wind started blowing in slow motion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would also like to say that it is this topic. It is appropriate that what we're talking about, that this is our technically shortest episode. And one other thing I'd like to say about this episode is nice.
It's gonna get pointed out eventually. Why not now?
Let's just start with it. Let's just start with it. And it's also still the shortest episode.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about kobolds because kobolds are cool. They are. They're fun. And also because, you know, there's a webcomic we have about it that I happen to write, and Luke McKay does the artwork for it, and there's skins in the store now of them, which is still really cool and awesome, and I can't believe happened. So...
I was thinking, like, how many kobolds are there? I'm like, well, there's a bunch more if you count the skins.
It's true. They don't technically count as kobolds.
No, they don't.
But there are kobolds.
But if you like kobolds, they'll look like kobolds.
How many kobolds aren't there? I will say of the stories that I've been blessed to do, again, running back Trials of Mount Tiamat, so people don't forget.
Yeah.
The one regret I have is I've still not found a good time to fit in Human. Still, I've tried every time I've had it on deck. I've had it loaded up, you know, and then never got them in. So we're gonna get there. It's gonna happen.
Wait, Human is a normal human, though.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that
there's nothing suspicious about them.
Has yet to show up. Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, kobolds, which there's a surprising amount of lore behind them. When we were talking about doing this episode, I'm like, you know, there might be enough. There is a long wiki article about kobolds, down to how they reproduce. I guess that works for the episode title.
Which is before you get into stuff like the Erd and and Dragon Rat Kobolds and weird kobold gods.
I will just, since, you know, I'm the elder statesman of our group here, I will just say way back, you know what? Hold on a second. What? Wait, that's it right there. Hold on.
Oh, things are happening. Headphones are coming off.
What's it gonna be?
I don't know.
Is it a book or is it a mini or is it?
As long as it's not the Scribbly I'm okay.
You know, I'm all, because I'm always talking about. I'm like, oh, I got this thing, and it's right over there. I got this thing, it's right over there. This was actually close enough to grab. So this is a classic adventure called Dragon Mountain, which the whole. I love these. I love these boxes so much.
That's so cool.
Spoiler alert: the plot of this thing is you go to this mountain looking for the dragon. The dragon's not there, but kobolds have taken it over, and the kobolds wage a guerrilla war against you. And so your high-level characters, like level 17, but they're straight up fighting like Ewoks. Like you come into a room, it's like a log swings down and hits everybody, and that's it. And like that's the whole thing. It's like it's like basically Predator, but the kobolds are trying to kill you. That's what this is. Yeah. Shout out to our homies.
But now I'm just picturing Arnold Schwarzenegger Cobalt. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Get the chopper. Yeah. It's funny because the game is expressly set up like they harry you the whole time, and it's terrible. And then it's like they're very hard to catch because they're fighting hit and run. And even if you manage to like kill one, it's like a CR 1/2. Like you feel no joy. You know what I mean? You're like, well, I got one of them.
Oh my god!
I guess. Yeah.
Picture this party of adventurers walking by, and there's this big mud pit, and there's just like a kobold just laying in it.
Yeah. You're one ugly mother.
So good. Okay, so Let's go back to the beginning. Kobolds. What the heck is a kobold?
It's very small.
Very small?
Very small. It's so they're reptilian humanoids. They're related to dragons very distantly.
Scaly kind.
Yeah.
It's not that distant. It's not that distant. Okay.
I think it depends on who you ask.
The kobolds. Yeah. Like
That's fair.
Yeah, right.
The dragons are like, we don't know them.
I was surprised. I guess I never looked up the exact the height for kobolds, but yeah, 2 to 2.5 foot tall.
Oh yeah.
They adorable.
35 to 45 pounds. Yeah, they're a plate. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. See, so this okay. I get why D&D has progressed the way it has. I get the way both the rules and narratively it has progressed the way it has. But the fact that the game with a 100% straight face is like a 2 foot, 35 pound fighter can wear heavy armor, swing a longsword, like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, but
the longsword is made of aluminum.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, because when the game was crunchier, there were things like, well, this side you can only kind of swing a short sword, you know what I mean? And it's the short sword is a long sword to you,
and
you know what I mean?
Depending on your size modifier was a different negative.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Which made sense, and I comprehend in the streamlining of the game why it's not a thing anymore. But yeah, when you're like, my 20 strength kobold barbarian is gonna, pick up this dragon, and I'm like, here's the thing, I've been around actual children, and no matter how strong that child is, if it shoots in and grabs my leg and lifts, my other leg's on the ground.
They always believe they can.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yo,
I can't tell you how my son's like, I think I could pick you up, and he comes and grabs me, and I'm just like, are we done yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're very strong.
To be clear, everybody's like, oh, it's just leverage. I'm like, y'all, I have multiple black belts. A thing that big can take a bigger thing down. It is not going to pick that thing up. That's all I'm saying. So
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, that's all. But I love it's an adorable visual of this this tiny dragon. Just like that's the other thing that once monstrous races became playable, that it's like, kobolds are like one quarter to 1/2 CR creatures, but then like player character kobolds are like the X-Men. They're like the chosen ones, You're like, you have all these kobolds, but that one can cast Meteor Swarm. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it's true.
Yeah.
I guess to that point, it is actually a good segue to combat, because they, according to how it's written, that's not how they fight. They don't usually like, it's like how you're saying in the book. They fight more like Ewoks. Like they are trap layers. Like they come up with these like wild.
Yep.
These wild like things for adventurers to walk into, and I there was even a part of it where it was just like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're strong as a kobold, like if you are a good trap maker, you are revered in the tribe.
I would like to say it says in their description they would often smell of wet dog and stagnant water.
I know.
Shout out to Snacks, my friend Vivid Vivka's kobold. Snacks smells like a wet dog and stagnant water.
Both at the same time.
Yeah. How? You know what I mean? How do you smell wet and dry? Yeah. Gotta lubricate those scales. Yeah.
Oh, God.
They're reddish brown to black. They have burnt orange to red eyes, which is great. They are sinewy and digitigrade, which is an interesting adjective to use to describe something.
Mm-hmm.
They have long clawed fingers, jaws like a crocodile, and horns that protrude from their head. Little dragon people.
I think that means they walk on their toes.
Yeah, because they have that sort of like raised heel thing. Yeah, right.
My favorite part of that paragraph you're reading, though, is the last part. Kobolds like to wear red or orange garments, usually ragged. I like that they're just like, no, only this. You give them like a white cloth, and like, get it away from me. I don't understand you.
I mean, again, I've shared this story with you all before. When my oldest child was about 2 years old, maybe 18 months, old enough to walk, not old enough to talk. Not old, old enough to move, but not be reasoned with. And to this
that last
day,
sentence is very important.
to this day, I don't know how she did it, but she came running out of the kitchen with a butcher knife, like a proper butcher knife. And I mean, she's having a great time with it. And I'm like, and I literally had to hit her with the same disarm I'd have to hit a grown man with, because I'm like, you're gonna kill me or you. So I'm like, I'm taking that from you. But before that, I was always very dismissive of like gnomes and small folk. But I just realized if she'd had 2 of them and was like, let's do it right now, I'd have been like, So
preschool's got a lot scarier that day.
Yeah. So I comprehend the value of the little ones, especially when they're on your back. If you really had a little lizard person that was this big that just like looked at you and was like Eldritch Blast, that's terrifying if you think about it. Yeah.
Smaller target.
Speaking of how they would act, what alignment are kobolds usually?
They're usually lawful evil.
Yeah.
They're very sort of the way that they've been depicted. They're very much sort of like looking for someone to tell them what to do. So the kobolds that sort of are the chiefs get to, organize those Ewoks, get the traps set and the ambushes developed. I think they're interesting because they kind of hate everybody.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing. It said in personality. I'm gonna read this paragraph verbatim. Kobolds were resentful of their short stature and hated members of other races who poked fun at them for this. Most felt as though they ought to compensate for their small size in other ways, such as humor or aggression. They would naturally tend to hate larger creatures, although they would show respect to and obedience if required. They always looked for ways to display their resentment. They made a whole race full of Napoleon complex.
Excuse me. Everything you just read in that description is true of me as well. I also use humor and aggression and hate larger creatures. I've told you this. Anytime I see a bigger dude, I'm like, he's got to go. I get it.
You're a massive kobold.
I'm not. I mean, wait, isn't that a dragonborn? Also,
there's another kind of kobold called a Dragon Rat Kobold, which is like a step between them.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Also, Obolorin, friend of our show, who was also in chat, is also behind the scenes helping produce this show and making this all possible. So any jab at a Dragonborn, I can just sneak in there. I can just like I can hear her blood pressure increasing through the headphones. But I put a picture here in our chat. It says that kobolds are not above using the most sinister. Kobolds were not above using the most sinister of tricks to blend in among human crowds. But the picture is 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Yeah, it is.
That's the most sinister of tricks.
That's the most sinister.
We'll get him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I was trying to think of the store that sells coats. It's like, oh yeah, we went there and bought something. We're terrible. Burlington. There we go. They went to Burlington.
3 coats for the price of 1. Yep.
Let's see. What was the other thing that? Oh yeah, Eric, you were talking about the other kinds of kobolds.
Yeah.
What's up with those?
So there's sort of 2 variations. One is I don't think it's in the current edition, but the Dragon Rat Kobolds, which is basically kobolds that are sort of more influenced by their draconic heritage. So they will get abilities that are generally associated with true dragons. So they're like immune to sleep and they're immune to paralysis. They live a lot longer than normal kobolds. They also can develop wings. And you can tell that one of these eggs is special because it starts to like have these like kind of fiery red patterns on it. On the other hand,
the flame decal from like a sports car.
The other thing, and these I think are, I'm very curious about the history of the Dragon Rat Kobolds and how that was introduced, because these sort of feel very similar. The winged kobolds, the Urds, and Urd is draconic for wing, so
the wiki image for them is not flattering.
no, it's so at some point in second edition they stopped making them, and I don't actually know what happened here, but the second edition art, they look like weird little goblins.
Yeah.
More like gremlins than little tiny dragon people. Before that they look like dragon people. After that they look like little dragon people, but for a little bit they just kind of look like imps or gremlins or something. So the picture of the Urd is that.
Just for the record, so that was my time, right? So when they were like kobolds or dragonkind, I'm like, no, they're not.
Were they not dragonkind at all?
They were.
Or were they dragonkind that looked like goblins?
It was goblins and kobolds were almost interchangeable.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure, like, if you dove into the written lore, it probably said they're descended from dragons. But I mean, in terms of the way they showed up in the content.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
they were just,
I would call this image a swoblin. Like
that's the 20 strength kobold.
That is,
like lifts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though that sword it's holding is literally like the size of this pen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to get stabbed by it. So yeah, that's the way when they turned into like, they are dragons. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
what?
But this like second edition art for the Urd looks like a goblin, a fairy, and Mothman had a child. Like, it is haunting.
Yeah.
That broke Erin.
Just for some reason, the idea of Mothman being like the surrogate in my head. And I don't understand it. I don't even know how to form it into a proper joke. It stopped me there. So Urds, there's depictions of Urds living in their own society separate from kobolds. There's depictions of them sort of interacting with kobolds. One thing I think is very D&D, there's actually, let's be fair, this is the kind of thing that happens in the real world too. So the kobolds have a god called Curdlemock. The Urds, yeah, right, actually, here's something I didn't know. Curdlemock is it's a Turkish word, and what was it? It means to escape.
Does it mean kobold god?
Weird coincidence.
Someone's like, damn it, they invented Wiktionary, now everybody knows. So there's Curdlemock and there's Coraliac. And Curdlemock is the god, is the kobold god.
Curdlemock and Coraliac is my favorite episode of The Next Generation. When the walls fell. Yeah, right.
I bet. So Curdlemock is the god of the kobolds. He was the first kobold, so he gets to be the one in charge. He's also the one that sort of made them all turn against the gnome pantheon, although given my previously stated feelings about the gnome pantheon, I'm not totally opposed.
Yeah.
Coraliac is a lesser god. It purportedly serves Curdlemock, but they hate each other. But also Coraliac is like a total coward and does not want to be involved with anything. I enjoy the fact that it says that Coraliac does not actually intercede on anything in the mortal plane. He just sends a giant bat. It's like, here. Priests pray for help. He's like, have a bat. Bye. Go back to binge watching my show.
Oh, geez. Well, one of the things I wanted to go back to is you talked about that the Dragon Rat live longer than normal kobolds. And I'm sure a lot of people in the chat and listening are familiar with the current estimated age range of a kobold, which is in the days range. But the thing that I thought was absolutely fascinating is just normal kobolds said to live up to 120 years. And I thought that was fascinating, considering apparently they're young adults at 6.
I mean, if you make that makes sense if they're crocodilian, or even
That's
draconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the Dragon Rot ones, it said that the ones that were descendants from chromatic dragons live up to 5 times longer than normal kobolds, and the metallic versions live up to 10 times longer than normal kobolds.
Let's be honest, they don't live that long. They're gonna die in them streets. Yeah.
It's true, but
the life expectancy is skewed somewhat.
Oh, is it?
Well, just by the fact that they live a life of building traps and mining in the deep, deep depths of the Underdark. That's there's a lot of on-the-job accidents for both of those.
There are.
Yep.
Plus adventures.
It's also, I will say that the age range that's given comes from Volo's Guide to Monsters, which is a relatively recent title. The Dragon Rat Kobolds are from 3rd edition. So without checking what the 3rd edition Kobold's life expectancy is, that number could be a lot less wacky.
Okay.
Because if they're like, oh, they mature at, 6 months and then they're going to live till they're 14. A kobold that lives to 140 is still bananas.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, I don't know, it takes it in a different level of bananas.
Mm-hmm. I do think there's some interesting
1,200-year-old kobold.
I am ancient. I am eternal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, kobold that's just impersonating Strahd somewhere.
Yeah.
I am the land.
Well, vampiric kobolds are a thing.
We've covered that. Yeah.
So
And lycanthropic kobolds.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the part that I wanted to be sure to hit. Oh my god, this was the most wild sentence I ever read. Or 3 sentences, whatever. At some point in time, kobolds learned to domesticate dire weasels to serve them as guards and hunters. This resulted in lycanthropic kobold dire weasels. Around 1 in 10,000 kobolds was a natural lycanthrope in this manner.
I
Who
really
did this?
The statement of they learned to domesticate dire weasels.
That is a wacky enough sentence on itself.
Therefore, lycanthropy arose in their population. Hold up.
Yeah,
you skipped a step. Because we domesticated cattle, and in D&D there aren't human were-cows.
Is that a full moon?
That's where minotaurs come from, buddy. That's where minotaurs come from. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That is dire weasels. That is I do just imagine little kobolds being like, where do weasels come from? And they're like, well, when a daddy kobold loves a mommy dire weasel. I was looking around here. In kobold, it is German, and it's from the same root word as goblin, so it really was the same creature. It's just a type of sprite, so it was, the fact that it was the same thing is more accurate. And then I guess over time it's you really don't need goblins and kobolds, not really, if they're both just mean little people. So let's let's diversify this.
They're both mean little people.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm telling you, there's too much information. If every topic we covered had this amount of information in it, it would be wild. Because it goes into shedding, because they're lizards.
What I love about this is there's info on kobold shedding and no information about dragonborn shedding.
Right?
They're why would you ask that? People need to know these things sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't shed all at once, so you can't have a little kobold skin double, turns out. They just send in patches. So they need to vacuum under the bed more.
Then they don't have to rub themselves against a rock there and but can you imagine if you have articulated hands and you shed, just being oh, come on.
I would be picking it nonstop.
Right.
You would. We'd be like,
He's
Aaron, it's your face. Aaron, it's your face.
And I bit my nails until I was 29. It would have been terrible.
Yeah. I'm not usually a picker, but I do feel if there was one that was just starting to go over here,
Yeah. As much as I love peeling stickers off of things like that, I find that really satisfying.
You'd be that person that would be peeling it off of someone else. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
I could open a salon. I could open a kobold salon and do like spa treatments, and it would be like so satisfying and disgusting. It would be
all these ideas for your homebrew world are free to you, chat.
I was about to say, I think we just found out how Havilar's retiring. Yeah.
What's weird is I don't think Havilar has the sticker picking. Like, I'm like, no, she doesn't do that. I don't know
has
why,
she ever
though.
encountered a sticker?
That's actually a fair point.
Yeah.
I feel like Havilar would put stickers on everything if she knew what stickers
Man,
were.
can you imagine her like in the 80s with like a trapper keeper? Oh man.
Oh my god.
You know, stop spoiling the next story where it's Paul Frank 80s adventure. Havilar's gonna have a scrunchie, you know what I mean?
Did you know colors come in neon?
Every monster is drawn by who? Oh my god, Lisa Frank.
Lisa Frank, yeah.
Even my wife from the other room was like Lisa Frank.
Havilar, like rainbow print, leopard print,
just everything.
Armor.
Yeah.
This feels correct.
It
Bright,
does.
but also baggy. Yeah.
Like slouchy socks.
And the name of the bad guy is gonna be Cross Color. Yeah. Coming soon.
Oh Lord.
There is one thing I always love to do. I always love to give the quotes in these things. The dragon scale toughens our skin. The dragon bone adorns our skull. The dragon heart flames our sorcery. We are the dragon, and for the dragon we live. Long live the dragon, which is a common kobold saying. Man, just mentioning that from time to time, you know? Like that's the like you're so money baby pep talk. Like when your girlfriend broke up with you, you're like, bro. The dragon scale strengthens our skin. Okay, look at me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right.
Got the snout.
Yeah. Give him the speech. Yep. I love it.
God, what else was there? God, I just keep seeing the lycanthrope, and I'm just it's messing with me. So society-wise, like they are very tribal, and you're talking about the mines and whatnot that they're normally known for doing. Is there anything else like community-wise that's interesting about Kobold?
I mean, again, they're world conquerors. They want to take over. They are expansionists because they want to mine, you know?
Because the Napoleon complex, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, you know? And, you know, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but it's probably true, that Napoleon wasn't particularly short for his time. Yeah. He's small relative to us. He wasn't small relative to them. It was just a smear campaign on the guy. Apparently, he was like this astonishing athlete, too. I do love this other quote that even tall ones are shorter than I am when they're flat on their backs in a hole filled with spikes from a master kobold trapmaker, which that was one of the things one of my kung fu teachers taught me. He's like, you want to kick somebody in the head, knock them down first. It's like, oh, okay.
Jesus.
It's not wrong.
Again, you know, you can be small and effective. I'm just saying physics. Yeah. But, you know, there seems like there's a lot of like, I feel like, and I'm sure somewhere along the way in D&D lore that I don't know off the top of my head, gasp, that there was some like 3-way scuffle between kobolds, drow, and Zwerfnablin for just like underground dominion. You know what I mean? Like, cause there's only so many jewel deposits, and they're like, we found it, and it's like, did you? And then it's just going down in the Underdark. Yep.
That would be one hell of a one shot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh yeah, so you know, we sometimes go over the notable ones when we're going over different creatures and whatnot. And one of them that's on here is Deacon, who is in Idle Champions. Because let's see, how many? I think are there only 2 that are currently in the game that count as kobolds? Because there's Deacon and Spurt.
Does Human count as a kobold? I mean,
no, Human is just a person.
I mean, yeah, he is an ordinary human being.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of if there's a chat will let me know. Oh, Ishi. Yep, Ishi is a.
That's right.
Yep. And yeah, I just love kobolds. They're just so much fun. Let me see. Well, tell you what. We do have some questions from chat, but is there any other things that you want to touch on about kobolds before we pass it over to them?
I mean, I like those little things. You know, I maintain like they're very pro dragon. I agree with Aaron. I don't think most dragons are pro kobold. You know,
Yeah.
Unless you there was hold on, wait.
While he's looking, remember, chat,
Yeah.
you can put your questions in, and our awesome mod Jordan will grab them, put it into a text docket, and I'll read them in a moment.
There was one time that a silver dragon led a group of kobolds.
Oh yeah.
It was mighty Trovis. Yes, he did lead a group of kobolds for a time. Yes, it was the golden era for their people. Yeah, that was part of Trovis' story.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, he convinced a group of kobolds that he was a silver dragon and they worshipped him. It's true. Yep.
So this one, there was one little thing in here, and I think that there's been a little simplification of language options in 5th edition. But for a time anyway, the language of kobolds is called Yip Yak.
Oh yeah.
Which is a dialect of Draconic. And what I think is interesting too is that there's a note in here that Elven scholars believed that the script of Draconic, Icaric, was actually developed by kobolds, because dragons don't really need to write things. They don't have like that kind of dexterity.
Makes sense.
So that the kobolds actually were the ones who began using the script. Which is an interesting idea. That feels a little like someone went, why do dragons have a written language? That's ridiculous. How can we make this make sense? Which is my favorite kind of lore, to be honest.
It is good. It is good. All right, let's see what we've got here. Cassius 335 question: am I the only one who absolutely thought kobolds had already been on an episode? That was the one where we talked about vampires as well. That was I think it was Noel's kobolds and vampires. Oh my, or something like that.
Because it was that Noel vampire that's in Icewind Dale.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about like the pack type of them and everything, but we didn't get into the little bit of lore there, like. Well, a little bit. There's a lot of lore there.
Let's be honest, y'all. We've done this for 69 episodes. Nice.
How many? Nice.
We've talked about almost everything at least once. You know, at least adjacent, and we're like, we should come back to that thing, and then we don't. We still owe Blip Dual Boop a deeper dive. You know. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep.
We have said a lot of bad things about that god. Dreadskull88 says, why don't kobolds have any dragon abilities even if they look like dragons?
So because they're not dragons is the short answer.
Yeah.
So they're sort of in the lore, they're created by dragons. Let me double check something actually. But generally when dragons make people to serve them, they're like, we don't want you having abilities that might let you overthrow us.
Yep.
And
you should not become a potential threat. Yeah.
So it says during the time of dragons, kobolds were the first of the dragon spawn and were created by Asgoroth, another name for Io, alongside Urds around negative 24,500 DR.
As one does.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the short answer is that like this is the same reason that and I guess it kind of comes down to like, why did they make these? And that I don't think I have specifics on. That's what I was looking for. They are supposedly the first of the dragon spawn, so that was their like test. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, we don't know how this is going to work out exactly. So let's like hold back on the breath weapons and, fear effects and immunities until we know what we're dealing with. Oh, look, we made tiny little dragon things. Let's make them mine for us. And then we'll go again.
Adorable.
Yep. Yep. And vicious. Yeah. I do. Two of my favorite things about kobolds from mechanically in the current iteration of 5th edition is one, they've got pack tactics, so they just fight better when they're together. But two, they have something called grovel, beg, and cower, where they can just be pitiful, and essentially the enemy turns away in disgust and gets all these negative penalties. I love that as a concept.
How I made it through elementary school.
Please, oh, please. I realize that's a Skeksis, not a Kobold, but it's got to be out of a similar
Not
thing.
a
You just be
Kobold.
like, oh, come on. And then they're like, gag hamstring. Yeah.
Let's see. This is from Rex Verde. Question: do you prefer alligator-like kobolds or more dog-like, but still scaly kobolds? I think probably the alligator ones for me. Like I do like the long snout sort of thing.
I don't know what the delineation between dog
Essentially,
and alligator is.
it's snout size.
I like the 5th edition art, the one that's like standing there with the sling, you know what I mean, and just like ready to fight. Like that is a kobold, like a snout that if I could grab, like the horn of it is on this side. I got him by the face right here, you know what I mean, like a little nose right there, you know what I mean, like that's that size.
Yeah.
Is it the what is that called? Split rhinarium. Is it the nose that, because the 4th edition ones had like more like crocodile nostrils and the 5th edition ones have like a dog nose.
Yeah, huh?
Is that the difference?
Well then, I
I'm gonna be
personally like the
honest.
5th edition one. But yeah, I clicked back to the 4th edition one. Yeah, they do have more alligator like nostrils.
I will say the alligator nostrils make me ask no questions. The wet split rhinarium, I'm like, okay, whatever. A wizard did it.
But okay. They're supposed to be scaly can. They're supposed to be little dinosaurs. And in 4th edition, they really did look like little dinosaurs, but they look ridiculous. At least in 5th edition.
You want your kobolds to look like a serious
Oh,
threat.
actually, if you want to see a kobold that looks more like a dog, check out the 1st edition art.
Oh yeah, no, we can all agree that should die in a fire. Yeah. And by die in a fire, I mean fireball. Yeah. Although it's like done up like a full knight. It's like a paladin code. Like it's a dual wielding like fighter kobold. It's ready to like go to the end.
Pan out and it's this big.
I shall fight you for the honor of the dragon.
That's true. That is true. Like it just needs to hop on the back of Ambrosia and ride into battle. Yeah.
I do like the 3rd edition one.
No.
Yeah, I do actually.
You like the 3rd edition one?
5th edition one looks like too much of a badass. Like, I don't know. I feel like a kobold should be scary in numbers and not necessarily alone.
I can tell you why in 5th edition it looks more menacing, because it being a player race is a big deal. It's got to be objectively valid. Like if it still looked
also
like it did,
the 5th edition one is like freaking ripped compared to the 3rd edition.
He weighs 35 pounds. He's like shredded.
It's all airbrushing.
Yeah.
The picture.
It's all angles. He's sucking it in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, he posted this artwork with hashtag woke up like this.
Hashtag woke up. Like he didn't even know the picture's being taken. He's like, what? Yeah.
It's candid.
Also,
it's candid.
I'm not gonna lie, this picture makes me start asking questions I don't actually want the answer to. Because that is rather mammalian musculature, and yet it doesn't have nipples.
You're like,
but I don't want kobolds to have nipples. I don't even want to ask a question about kobold nipples. So
they're reptilian. They wouldn't have nipples. That's mammalian. Why would they?
And some of this is there is no bipedal reptile in the real world. But I'm like, those look like primate muscles.
When you said bipedal reptile in the real world, I just pictured
not dinosaurs and stuff.
No. I pictured that video of that lizard that runs across the water.
Yeah.
That's real world kobolds.
Yeah. It's not real world kobolds. It's not. If while you're either running from it or running after it, you hit a tripwire and fall and 17 of them jump on you, then yeah.
God dang it. Rex Verde in the chat. This guy's not reptilian. He's reptilian.
Exactly. He's like Kylo Ren. He's got a 12-pack. He's shredded.
Okay. Love it or hate it. If the kobold also had one of those big frills like those Jesus lizards.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. I would actually love that.
Terrible.
I feel like the frilly kobolds would be like the top of the social structure too. Yeah. Like then it would become about the size of your frill with like actively define.
One kobold's like, who puts you in charge?
The gods. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. That is how that would work.
Jeez, let's see. Stinkwhip asks again. Love the name.
That's the best name.
Though the most appropriate name, who is in chat right now, Stabagill the Kobold. We would be remiss if we did not mention.
We would
Stabagill
be
the Kobold.
remiss. Can I just insert one other thing, because I don't want, I'll forget.
Okay.
Another quote.
Oh, no.
Kobolds are a lot less cute when they learn how to cast Fireball.
Well, this actually pertains to that. Stinkwhip says, question, if a kobold gained a dragon's favor, would they be a warlock or a dragon blood sorcerer?
Either.
They actually do have dragon blood sorcerers that pop up in kobold communities. That is
Terrifying.
the most common kind of spellcaster.
Let me go ahead and completely blow your mind. Porque no los dos. Because a dragon blood sorcerer is you had a draconic ancestor, so these powers are manifesting, and you go on a quest to figure out what's up with that, and a dragon's like, hey, I got you, and then you're a sorcerer warlock, and that's your character concept. It's too bad the art for my next show is already done, or I would switch right at this exact second to a kobold draconic sorcerer. I don't even know what pact would that be for a warlock. Celestial, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
So we have Todd Kenrick in the chat right now.
A wild Todd has appeared.
Happy late birthday.
Happy late birthday.
Happy late birthday.
You got to a show about kobolds.
We did.
Todd says, kobolds have changed mechanically a lot in Mordecai Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. Oh, I actually didn't look at the kobolds in that.
Again, what kind of monster hasn't even opened it yet?
I got it right here. It's open though. There's no plastic.
Yeah, we're on brand. We're on brand.
Yeah,
that was for V, wherever she is. I need her to know. I didn't open this either. You know?
I'll make sure if he knows.
And yet, if they stop sending me stuff, I will ruin this house with my I deeply identify with dragons. There is such a joy of just ownership that I can look at it and it's mine. And I'm like, that's all I wanted. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just gonna go and lay in a pile of books instead and wait for a hobbit to come in here and just like one eye opens, you know? That's when the kids come in. They just find me under a pile of books with my one eye. I'm like, who disturbs my rest? Yeah.
So this person, I've tried several times now to pronounce this name in my head. I cannot do it. You'll know your question when I say it. I apologize.
I need you to try. I need you to try.
Oh,
I need you to try. I need you to try.
Do it.
Wait. Hang on. Zone of safety. Paste it here in our chat so we at least know.
Okay.
And then I need you to try.
Okay. Hang on. I can do this.
Also,
I swear.
I feel like I should take this.
Okay, I know how I say it.
EPC.
No, I need to hear him say it. No.
Oh, sorry.
If it makes you feel better, I didn't hear exactly how I said. So,
all right.
Clouder PC. Clouder. I'm just making noises now.
It's like cloudier PC, like she said. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, that
guess.
person. Hey.
Yeah. My apologies. Does anyone remember if Dragonlance had kobolds?
Pretty sure it did.
Had draconians. Did they? Were the draconians were kind of what happened when dragon eggs were corrupted? And I think they came in different varieties, and kobold-like ones were definitely on the list. But I don't know if they had kobolds specifically.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that is interesting. Because like if B-Dave, with like what B-Dave was saying, where second edition, where it's like they weren't draconic, they might not have shown up there because they're like, nah, we only got dragon stuff over here. We're Dragonlance. Got dragons and lances. That's what we sell.
That's it. It's on
Russian operas.
It's on the tin. Yes.
Hey, you got maces over here? Read the sign.
Yeah.
We've got two things.
Ogre mace is that way.
But see,
Ogre
you know,
base is
again,
that
it asks more questions than it answers, because are these lances that dragons use, or are these anti-dragon lances?
Right?
Because those are not necessarily exclusionary, because you got a lance that a dragon uses against another dragon.
Or is it dragons and lances? Like they just two different departments.
It's like a Walmart of dragons and lances and dragon lances and also dragon lances. Yeah, right. Yeah, and also dragons named Lance. And then there's just a guy named Lance with like a sweet ass dragon tattoo.
I'm putting this out to the universe. I need a one shot where Lance Bass plays a Dragonborn. I'm putting it out there. I need it.
We're gonna make, yes. With I plus
amazing.
1 your radiance into the universe. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up the questions with not a question, but from Todd Kendrick that just says, "How good would it have been if Spurt was an Erd?" And I'm for that. All right, I think that is a good place to wrap up this episode. Friends, where can people find you and what awesome things you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can listen to me with these guys on our podcast, writing about dragons and shit.
No new episode this week. Next week.
Yeah, not this week, but you can go back and listen to the old ones.
Yep, you can.
It's what it says on the tin. So, you can join me on Mondays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers for Concentration Check, a co-writing show. And then again at 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays for Dungeon Scrawlers, an actual play with a bunch of fantasy writers in the Forgotten Realms. Also, since we're talking about kobolds, if you look back on the videos on this channel, you will find an actual play that I did last week with Lauren Urban as the
Yeah.
3 kobolds and a blue sheet was hilarious. So if you need more kobold fix, that's a good place to go.
100%.
B-Day Walters, I say words about things. I'm gonna vague book that I'm doing something really, really cool this weekend, and you legit won't even know what it is for like 3 or 4 months. But that's me. That's that thing I do. That I'm like, something cool is about to happen, and eventually when it comes up, I'm gonna be like, that's the thing I was talking about before. Wait, no, there's one cool thing that is next month, April 21st, which got in the can like 2 weeks ago, because again, that's my life. And then another cool thing that is coming. So yeah, just follow me on the tweetagrams for more vague bookery, and occasionally I post like workout pictures of me doing like superhuman things at a very advanced age. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And at B. Dave Walters.
Not an advanced age. Not an advanced age. You can find me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there. And yeah, if you want more Kobold things, there's Kobold skins in the store. Pack Antics. It's really cool, adorable. I'd really love it if you bought it. You tweet pictures at me with them in the formation.
It's a bunch of idle champions trapped in kobold skins going through Witchlight, and it's delightful.
It's fun. I love it. Thank you to Jordan for moderating in the chat today and doing a fantastic job. And thank you to Codename Entertainment for letting us have some fun, talk about some D&D. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it later as a podcast on your favorite podcast service. And they have reviews on Spotify now. So
it only works if you click 5 stars.
It's true. It's a weird bug. So don't even try clicking those. It'll brick your phone. So you can only get that 5-star one.
Like Russian hackers get access to your credit card information if you hit anything less than a 5-star.
It's a real problem.
It's a real big problem.
It's a scourge.
Let's see. Later today, we've got Mars' Guiding Hand at 1, and we've got Sketching Hour at 3, and we got a little thing coming to the game in about 4 minutes. So be sure to update your game and see what happens. And there might be a blog, so who knows? Find that out.
Maybe you should do that.
Yep. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. So until next week, champions out.
Stay scaly.